Ever wonder why some of the most brilliant people you can imagine seem to struggle so much with something as basic as finding love? It's a really fascinating paradox, and today, we're going to dive into the psychology behind this very unique kind of loneliness.
It's a weird one, isn't it? You see people who can understand these incredibly complex ideas, or spot patterns that nobody else sees, but that simple pattern of human connection, it can feel like a total mystery to them. So what is really going on here?
Is it just arrogance? Is it as simple as them thinking they're better than everyone else? That's the easy answer, right?
Or maybe they're just way too picky. Maybe their standards are so impossibly high that absolutely no one can ever measure up. It's a pretty common theory.
But what if those surface-level answers are completely missing the point? What if the reason has nothing to do with arrogance and everything to do with the actual architecture of their mind?
Okay, so the first piece of this whole puzzle is all about how they process social interactions. For them, it's not about the quantity of connections they make, but the quality.
For a lot of these individuals, small talk isn't just boring. It can feel physically draining. It's kind of like listening to static when you're desperate to tune into a clear song. Any interaction that doesn't have real substance or a genuine purpose can feel like a total waste of energy.
And this right here, this incredibly low tolerance for anything fake, that's often the #1 barrier. It's like this invisible wall that stops so many potential connections before they even have a chance to start.
So what are they looking for instead? Well, it's this: a need for depth. They aren't just looking for a person to spend time with. They are searching, really searching, for a connection that's built on real, authentic, intellectual, and emotional honesty.
And this leads us to a really fundamental conflict in how they make social decisions. It's a choice that, honestly, most people don't even realize they're making, but for these personalities, it's pretty much constant.
So this whole conflict really boils down to two competing drives. On one side, you have belonging. The desire to fit in, to keep things smooth, maintain social harmony. But on the other side, you've got truth, this non-negotiable drive for authenticity, even when it makes things, uncomfortable.
And when they're faced with this choice, they will almost instinctively, every single time, pick truth over belonging. They would rather be authentic and alone than be in a crowd wearing a mask.
And it's so important to get this. This isn't a conscious choice to be difficult or a pain. It's more like an involuntary response. It's a core part of their psychological wiring. It's just who they are.
Okay, so if that's what's happening on the inside, why is it so often misunderstood? Well, that brings us to the gap between the signal they think they're sending out and the noise that everyone else actually hears.
Because they don't really do the superficial chit-chat, and they prioritize direct, truthful communication. They end up sending a signal that they absolutely do not intend to send.
So from the outside looking in, that signal gets all twisted up. Their quietness is seen as being cold. Their deep focus looks like they're disinterested. And their independence, that can come across as aloof, or even worse, judgmental.
But let's just flip that for a second. Let's look at the internal reality. What's actually happening inside their mind when they seem so distant?
See, what looks like a wall is actually a filter. It's a highly active, really powerful filter that is constantly scanning, listening, and just searching for something or someone authentic enough to connect with. It's not passive disinterest at all. It's a very active search.
So how do we put all this together? Well, it really requires us to completely reframe the way we think about their situation.
The first step is to just stop calling it a struggle to find love. That implies they're failing at something. It's way more accurate to see it as a very specific search for compatible depth. They aren't looking for just anyone. They're looking for their frequency. And ultimately, this is the key takeaway. This entire pattern of behavior, it isn't a bug that needs to be fixed or a flaw they need to overcome. It's a feature, an integral part of their psychological architecture.
Which kind of leaves us with a much broader question, doesn't it? In this world of fleeting interactions and perfectly curated online lives, are we building a culture that actually values real depth or one that just rewards a good performance? Maybe the loneliness of the brilliant mind isn't just a personal problem, but a reflection of the world we're all building together. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.